Hi, mamas. Coming to you today, just totally real life mama. Got my baby on my back, and I'm here to talk to you about momming through the hard times. Now, hard times look different, for everybody. There's all sorts of hard times. There's hard times that are just like the mess of too much. You just have so much going on. And then there's the really, really hard times, whether by illness or loss, the list goes on. So whatever it is that you have in your life, that's the hard stuff. You know what it is. You know because you're living it. And this video isn't me claiming to know your life or how you should live your life, but instead just a big hug of accompaniment. Motherhood, it's just one of those things. It's really hard, but it's really good. It's really rich. It's really rewarding. So let's tighten up our boots and get through these hard times. I want to share some reminders that have been brought to my attention, I believe, by the Holy Spirit, and I'm sharing them here. Feel free to invite interruptions in our life as invitations, whether these are the literal interruptions by the 3-year-old, the things that come up in family living, or the big interruptions like a health crisis or an emergency. These interruptions are invitations. They're invitations because God has allowed them to happen. And if we choose to do the right thing with this invitation, we are actually growing in holiness and sanctification. They're part of our story. They're part of our story for how we get to Him. So just remember that, not to take away the difficulty of it, but remember it is specific for you. The chances of you being born were so slim, and yet you were born with this life and this specific set of details that you deal with. Okay, first off, when things go all over the place, you have to define what's important to you, or rather, redefine it. Because so often we have our priorities in a certain order, and then we have to reassess when things change, when seasons change, when life throws us something crazy. So identify what's actually important to you. I was on a really cool call recently where I was trying to get coached about how to be more productive in the home and how to organize and schedule and stick better to routine. And the coach asked me, she said, well, why is routine important to you? I was like, well, duh, you get more done. Like, I have a family to run. Lady, like, what do you think? And she said, but why is that important to you? And without going into the full details of this talk, by the end of it, I realized the reason that routine is so important to me is because it validated that I was doing good work. Because my big thing is doing good work for my family and for God. And when I realized that, it was so obvious to me that I could do good work without the routine. Now, not that the routine isn't great and amazing and going to help you with your productivity. Of course it is. But what's really important to you, for me, it was doing good work. So there's so many ways good work can look, and it doesn't have to look how you expect it to, or whatever it is that is important to you. Make sure the thing that's really important to you is something holy, of course. And if it's not, like, you can work on that first. But most likely, most of us have really good intentions at our core. And so when we get to that core, what is important to you, you can go ahead and do that thing in a different way and reimagine how it's going to look. So recently I had my cupboards, my countertops are being redone, and we have to empty it all out. We empty out the clutter on top, we empty out the cupboards, we empty everything out, and it's a huge mess. It's a huge mess, and it's going to feel like a mess when you are reimagining, redefining what is important to you. But go ahead and empty out the clutter, okay? And then you assess. You're like, these are all the plates that I'm spinning right now. And what's really important? What's really essential? And I think when we're going through hard times, figuring out those essential plates is going to be game changing. It's essential to feed everybody, but is it essential for you to cook? Maybe it is, but you can kind of define what is very essential for your season depending on what it is that you're struggling with. Okay, number 2, stop beating yourself up. Stop it. Mamas, I see you. You are trying really hard and you are constantly not hitting the mark. Okay? It's okay. It's okay. Keep striving, but don't knock yourself down when you don't make the mark, because that doesn't help your family. It doesn't help you. You're not ruining your kids because you're not perfectly achieving all the things you think you're supposed to be achieving. Okay? So often we as mothers feel so much guilt for where our attention is going. Say that we as a mom are dealing with a health issue and we have to pay attention to ourselves just a little bit more. We feel so guilty. And we don't need to do that. There's no place for guilt here. And there's healthy guilt. I'll give you that, like when there is sin going on. But if there's nothing like that going on, toss the guilt. Toss the guilt. It's not serving you and it's not serving your family. Well, that's way easier said than done, right? I know. But I'm giving you permission. You're doing great. I have a very limited audience on these videos. I'm not a huge YouTuber, and I'm thankful for that because I know who I'm speaking to, and I know you girls, I know you guys, you are really striving for holiness and you're doing an amazing job. And so breathe easy, because number 3, we got to adapt and be patient. This is all part of God's plan. For whatever reason, this is part of your story. But it's not just limited to your story, okay? Everybody around you is touched by your story. And so if we choose to step into that, we don't know what good we could be doing. Remind yourself that your story is actually God's story. Yeah, you're a part of it. And yes, you need to do your part. But it is God's good work that is actually happening. So broadening that perspective can be really helpful. So after we've redefined what was important to us, okay, and we've stopped beating ourselves up, it's time to adapt. It's time to adapt and figure out what the new normal is and how we can do things differently. Even if you've always done things a certain way for so long, you can rearrange. I heard this really cute story about a mother who struggled with chronic pain, and she talked about making ground beef in an oven instead of like frying it up because her joints hurt so bad. And she would just cook it, like flatten it, cook it in the oven, and then break it up when it came out of the oven. Talk about adaptation. That is really cool. There's so many tricks like that. You know, when we have something going on, now this video is very broad, general struggle, you know, but whether that's mental illness, physical illness, like a kid is sick, like we can adapt. It's just a matter of trusting God in this process that this season's going to look a little different, and that's all right. And number 4, know this too shall pass. It will get easier. It will get easier as we adapt, as we press into God's plan. It should get easier. And if it doesn't, then our hope is not in this world anyway. Our hope is in heaven. That is what we are seeking. We're not trying to take heaven by storm and make a heaven on earth. I mean, yes, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed, on earth as it is in heaven, right? But we're not trying to take heaven by storm and it's like, this is our perfect reality right here. We're going to make everything perfect. No, we're not. Right here, we're becoming holy so that we can go to heaven and we can seek God. And just keep that in perspective. This too shall pass, whether it passes in this life or it passes beyond in the afterlife. This is temporary. This is a very temporary suffering and in the broad scheme of things. So this too shall pass. Okay? And in all this, a very simple prayer that I like to repeat to myself is, Jesus, I love you. make me holy. And he will deliver. So God bless you. I hope that these tips are helpful, and whatever you're struggling with, I will be praying for your special intentions. Like, you just hold all the intentions that you hold in your heart. I will just pray broadly that anyone who watches this video, that those intentions be, that God's will be done. And I'm here for you. We're all in this together, separate but together, and let's fall in love with Jesus together, right? Okay, God bless you. You're doing great. You've got this. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, or you know a mom that could use a little encouragement, go ahead and share this with them right now. And if you're brand new, I'm so glad to have you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want notifications about the next video.